Corliss Rex the dog. Well, they are here. And I'm here to talk about Sonic Drift 2. With the recent release of Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers, this excellent new fan game, I thought I would look back to a Sonic kart racer that many of us started with. Now, numerous video game mascots enthusiastically embraced the kart trend of the 90s, and the iconic Hedgehog was no exception. Sonic's high-speed adventures seemed tailor-made for the racetracks, and following the triumph of Super Mario Kart in 1992, Sega ensured Sonic got his own turn on the circuit with Sonic Drift for the Game Gear. Although this title remained exclusive to Japan, Western audiences eagerly welcomed its significantly improved sequel a few years later, which is now accessible through various compilations like Sonic Mega Collection Plus, on 3DS Virtual Console. It's also available as part of Sonic Origins Plus, the expansion. And I really feel that this game has been able to withstand the test of time. I think the thrill it provides is undiminished, and I think it's just as electrifying in its own special way today as it was back in 1995 for those of us who played it on the Game Gear. Now, it's important to recognize that Sonic Drift 2 represents one of the final entries into the then fading genre of pseudo 3D arcade racers, right? Evoking sort of that nostalgia you get for classics like Namco's Pole Position, Sega's excellent Outrun series. For those fully accustomed to 3D environments, there may be a brief period of adjustment if you're hopping into something like Sonic Drift 2. If Super Mario Kart, which you found on the 16-bit consoles, you could consider to be akin to Mode 7 graphics of sort of that faux 3D, which we found in games like the original Star Fox, then we've really got to look at the 8-bit Game Gear system and Sonic Drift 2 and think of it as kind of like a Mode 3.5, right? But I do really feel that this is a game where perseverance is rewarded, even when compared to contemporary titles and one sort of kind of spun off from it in a big way, like Dr. Robotnik's Drift Racers, this new Ring Racer, this new fan game. I feel the 2D presentation of Sonic Drift 2 holds up remarkably well, all things said and done. So after playing a bunch of Sonic Drift 2 on my own, after playing a bunch of the multiplayer and running through all the tracks, very recently with the one and only Arisu Unicorn, I think I'm going to give kind of my opinions on what you find in this game. Despite the relatively limited field of vision that you get on that Game Gear screen, navigational aids such as roadside signs indicating upcoming turns, and the overhead map occupying the top part of the screen, I really feel ensure smooth gameplay and you kind of know where you're going. And while glancing at the map, it provides foresight. While driving by instinct remains like totally viable and a really exciting option, it's really good to be kind of looking at that map and seeing what's going on. But I feel the controls in this are really, really responsive. Arisu made a comment to a game that we've played a fair bit as well, Garfield Kart. It's way more responsive than a modern game like Garfield Kart. The drifting, it does actually feel really good in this game. Now, one of the things I like about this game is players can select from 7 characters in their quest for acquiring Chaos Emeralds, each offering distinct handling and unique abilities when activated by pressing the up on the D-pad when they've collected a couple of rings. Sonic's got a tail boost, Tails got this like obstacle clearing jump. Each character kind of brings a strategic advantage to the race. And additionally, item boxes scattered across The courses yield power-ups ranging from boosts to temporary invincibility, enhancing that competitive edge, which you can find more when you're doing the two-player split screen, which is kind of cool. Now, the pursuit of the emeralds unfolds across 3 escalating Chaos GP circuits. You've got the purple circuit, the white circuit, and the blue circuit. And each of those encompassing a total of 18 tracks, which is pretty respectable for an 8-bit handheld game. While some courses pay homage to beloved zones from Sonic platformers, some introduce entirely new locales, each with its own distinct features, its distinct challenges, and the diversity of track mechanics adds depth and excitement to the race experience that's offered in Sonic Drift 2. Now, nearly every course introduces a unique element, such as the lightning storm in the rainy savannah, or the crosswinds you find in the dark valley, which demand adaptability and skill from the player. While veering off course typically results in a speed penalty, certain paths may lead to precarious situations, requiring rescue by a crane-like mechanism that's very reminiscent of Lakitu from Mario Kart. So it does kind of share, obviously, a lot of DNA with that game that really did heavily influence this one. As I said before, though, the responsive controls are something that's really, really essential to a racing game, especially one that's focused on speed and precision, and Sonic Drift 2 delivers admirably in this regard. Whether you're playing with, like, the D-pad that came on the Game Gear, the circle pad on the 3DS, you're using a stick if you're playing this on a modern console, executing drifts around the corner, I mean, as it's in the title, is immensely satisfying. And customizable controls on a lot of these modern ports offer flexibility, catering to the individual who's playing the game. Now, as a title that was released towards the end of the Game Gear's lifespan, Sonic Drift 2 really showcases the graphical prowess of Sega's handheld system, right? The character animations are really fluid, and the fast-paced tracks convey a palpable sense of speed. Despite disappointingly predominantly static backdrops, which differentiates it from something like Outrun from Sega, the vibrant visuals exemplified by locales like Emerald Ocean and the Milky Way style tracks really captivate your attention. So although it does have those static backgrounds, which are kind of a disappointment, I do feel there's still a lot there to really keep your attention, and so the beauty of this game. And the soundtrack alongside that complements the gameplay perfectly, blending melodies reminiscent of the 8-bit Sonic platformers, which you find on the Game Gear and the Master System, with that arcade-style energy of this style of racer. So, I think that the sound design's really good. Now, obviously, you do have the limitations of the chipset of the Game Gear, and there's sometimes some like missed cues and whatever, but I think it's really, really charming. And I know Arisu, when we're playing, it was like, oh, this is cool as well. Collecting all these Chaos Emeralds in the GP adds some really cool replay value, because you can unlock a hard mode, which intensifies enemy AI. While you've got like a free run mode, which allows for like time trials, competitive leaderboard standings, that sort of thing, which is really fun. The type of thing you'd expect from like a full package like this. And moreover, the inclusion of the 2-player versus mode, very reminiscent of a lot of these sort of games at the time, really ensures enjoyable multiplayer experiences. For me, with Sonic Drift 2, whether you're competing against AI opponents or you're playing with friends on, local play, it offers enduring entertainment. So in conclusion, for me, Sonic Drift 2 is one of those games that kind of like transcends its dated appearance to deliver what I think is still like exhilarating and fun gameplay if you like this sort of arcade style racer. I think it's got really, really responsive controls, it's got diverse track designs, it's got the multiplayer capabilities, and it stands out as one of those like key Game Gear titles. For fans of high-speed racing, for kart racing, for the Sonic franchise, it's a gem not to be missed. So I hope you kind of enjoyed me talking a little bit about Sonic Drift 2 here. I've put again a little bit more effort in this video showing you footage from the game and so forth. So I hope that's something that helps me kind of get my point across and let you know a bit about the game. If you've played the game before, or you got any comments on it, or any of these other sort of style of arcade racers, please drop us a comment. I'd really, really appreciate that. I will be finding the time to talk about Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers very soon, because that's a very exciting game in the Sonic fan community right now, and that was the reason I jumped back into Drift 2. If you haven't seen my Sonic tier list already, I've got that on my old live streams. I put this game at a rank C. I think it's a really good, passable game. I think it's got a lot of... I think C's are good games, you know? These are passable games. I think there's a lot of worth in this. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers at the moment. If you haven't already subscribed, that'd be great. If you look in the description, we've got links to the Telegram, the Instagram, the Ko-fi if you're feeling really generous. But again, thank you for everybody who's commenting on these videos. It's your interaction and the community that makes this really fun for me to do. And as you can see from the dedication that I have to this channel of uploading all the time, it is fun for me to do. But I will catch you all real soon. If there's any other games you'd like to hear me talk about, please let me know, and I'm sure we'll be interacting with each other very soon.